Okay, I'm back. So I watched the Meghan Markle documentary, and one thing that Doria said was that she regrets not having, quote unquote, the talk with Meg. And I really wish, I may reach out to her. You know what? It's a niche content, you know what I mean? Only some people will really appreciate what I'm about to do. But you know what? I just want to know what she would have said to prepare Meg for the world. Because Doria obviously is, one of those folks who, as I said, been mixing for a while and, you know, identifies as black, engages in spaces as black, clearly has mixed ancestry. Now, I do want to hold space really quickly and just say that, there was a moment in Clubhouse where somebody came in and we had literally the same ancestry. And so that's why I remember this so very clearly. But she was talking about how her father is black and her mom is biracial. And people were like, sweetie, you're mixed. And it was awkward because, I don't want to say I just came to that conclusion because that would not be in good faith. It was more so that I was at a point in listening where I was like, yeah, we need to do better. You know what I mean? And so when this person was getting told that they weren't black, it was just kind of like a moment for folks to kind of dig in deeper. And it was like right place, right time. And I want to be clear that the room was like a room that said I don't even know what the room was about. I really don't. I don't even know. And that's the thing that's even wilder is us mixed people will find a way to ask people what we are. And it's so bizarre because I do not recall myself doing this, but I may have at some point. I may have. I do not recall this moment, but I have had mixed folks ask me, what they were giving. I remember very, very, very clearly. I know I'm segueing, but I'm smoking that anti-anxiety weed, so I'm good. Shout out to Orange Creamsicle. Shit is lovely. Anyways, but damn, I gotta listen to this back to come back. So as I was saying before, there was a person who had my same ancestry, everything that she was saying was literally how I would describe my family, at least at the time. And so folks were telling her, you are mixed. And then there were folks that were like, you're black. And there were folks that were, analyzing her picture and just doing all this extra shit. And it's like, yo, that is violent. If a person says I'm black, and as soon as they say and, do I have to, I'm going to finish it. As soon as they say and, that's automatically not a black person. Again, I understand that we live in America. I'm going to engage with FD Signifier's own words. He said, we live in America, and if you're a biracial person in America, then you may or may not be black, depending on the police perceiving you. And I want to engage with that. I want to engage with that so bad because, first of all, can we engage with the optics of a brown-skinned black man? Not going to say he's mixed. Not going to say he has mixed ancestry. But definitely going to say that because he is a black cis man, he has power to say something and white people will really think, oh, he's saying something real, he's engaging with something important. The fact that he dares to create content about the topic that he creates content on means that he himself thinks that he has a lens worth listening to, which is, confidence, very confident. I'm not here to take away anybody's confidence at all. I want to be genuine about that. But when FD Signifier says, if the cops see you as black, then you're black. If law enforcement, again, all these conversations I'm having with you really do illustrate a picture of someone who's obviously not black, right? You wouldn't consider me black at this point, right? How much do I have to tell you? And that's just that. No mixed person should ever be sitting around talking about how this or that thing makes them black. The truth of the matter is, as soon as you are mixed with black and you're mixed, no matter how people project blackness upon you, you must make sure that people know you're mixed. And I know that there is a politic that some people hold that think that that is self-exotification. At this stage of colonization, it is not. It's complicity in erasure. Some of us mixed people say that we are black because some black people have told us that they do not see us as mixed. I am one of those mixed people, and I was not understanding the harm I was doing by no longer saying I'm a mixed person when people would engage with me in good faith and name that I was black by either saying things like, oh, I want to shop black owned, or I want to support black women. There have been multiple times where people gave me the option to acknowledge that I am mixed. And so for us mixed people to make it seem as if we could not claim our mixedness, it's very rare that anyone's ever forcing us to claim blackness. It is more so people are at times, looking at our curl, looking at our lip. And what's funny? This is actually making me think of a moment that I had with a white person who I assumed was a spicy white. And at that point in my radicalization, I was feeling safer around spicy whites. And I remember, saying like, oh, I thought you were a part of the Latinidad. And they were like, no, I'm white. And I was like, oh shit. And they were like, yeah. They were like, I gotta let that shit be known. Because people a lot of times, because my hair is curly, they think that I may be, a person of color. And so I don't ever want anyone to think that I'm a safe person to be around. And I'm like that coming up for me is like a moment, because that's what we're talking about really. Is like some of us have assumed we are safe to be around. And I think that that's another layer to this, right? And I think that's where I come in and let you know that when I tell folks don't trust me as a light-skinned person, it's because I don't want anyone to think that being my friend or being close to me means that when I fuck up, you don't do anything or you don't say anything. I am trying to uplift something that not just literally like two white people have told me, but something that I hear when deep dark skinned people talk about the erasure and the decentering. The power and the privilege that we have means that we're not always safe people to be around. That is why I said don't trust us, because that was vital information I needed from a white person in a space where I thought I could trust this one white person. And they let me know, nah, don't count on me. I want to take a moment to uplift a moment where us mixed people were being untrustworthy and actually being violent. And I don't want to say no one will ever know because I'm like uplifting it, but like these are like the dirty dealings that go on behind the scenes. So there was a shop that I was thinking about buying something from. They had some really cute leather work, and the shop was very much one where, fantasy clothing for fairies. I'm very interested in cottagecore. You got me. You have caught me. You have caughteth me. But yeah, so I was looking into getting some fairy clothes from this shop. I think it was called like Foxes and Ravens, and I'm not gonna are going to engage in bullying, but I do want to say that if I uplift someone on here and I say their name, I'm never wanting anyone to bully them, but I do know that, like, because I'm a light-skinned person, people do bully for me. And so that's something I have to uplift. And so I just want y'all to know, like, just because I have an interaction with someone and I tell you about it doesn't mean that you have to go fight on my behalf. And also, what I would really like is for folks to think about strategically fighting if they did want to fight. Like, if you have the energy to engage, I love to hear that. Because I actually have some ideas. So if you ever want to collaborate, please hit me up. I would love to talk to some folks who want to collaborate and use their privilege, especially white people, because, you know, this story includes a white person and a few mixed people. But, you know, I'm just going to focus on the white person and just like how us mixed people cause harm. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this is not like, I don't want to say like a super big deal, but I also don't want to like downplay it and say that like this isn't like an issue and a causing of misinformation to spread. But I do want to uplift that like this is an interaction that I had when I had been radicalized and was like trying to just do like direct actions, like whenever I saw like colorism unfolding in certain spaces, or I just saw just no deep dark skinned people in a photograph, and I saw a bunch of mixed people, and I could tell the intention was to center non-white people but not explicitly black people. But there was this like vibe of like, it's so diverse here right now. And so I reached out to the creator, or actually, I believe I actually sent a comment. Now I'm going to be candid. I feel like, I don't know, I want to engage around this, and if folks want to give me their thoughts, I feel like if I message you in the comments, I personally feel like I'm engaging in good faith, but I also don't trust you. So I want to make sure that when I engage with you, other people can see how the convo goes. And I don't know if other people engage in that way. I feel like DMs can be great, but they also can be hidden and sneaky. And they can also be doctored. So I do prefer comment sections just because then people can see like, oh, like this person is engaging. They're not being rude. I feel like there's also like a performance of kindness. And I want to also lift that up really quickly as well, that like, that's violence unfolding, to be real. Like, I don't have to be nice to any of these folks, but unfortunately, I'm aware that the quote-unquote kinder I sound, people will be more open to hearing me. But I am aware that that is a form of violence, because black folks shouldn't have to say anything any type of way, but also folks shouldn't have to interpret what they're saying and give it to you that way. Like, it really shouldn't be me uplifting anything for you for the first time. You should really be investigating deep dark skinned people's work around centering blackness, and also decentering, and also erasure. These are things you can look up online. I'm obviously going to keep on sharing sources, but please do not feel the need to indulge me in this conversation. I am, however, trying to make sure that mixed folks, and I also want to put an asterisk there, I don't care what you're mixed with. If you're mixed, you're mixed. You're not whatever you want to say you are. You are mixed. Your journey may be different than mine, but you are still a mixed person. You understand what it's like to not necessarily be anchored somewhere, right? So just under that, you understand how important it is to have a fucking identity. How fucked up is it that anybody is trying to slide into other people's fucking identities instead of just holding that they're a mixed person? Whether or not you are a product of love, that is nobody's fucking business. Whether or not you're the product of, colorists collaborating, that is not on anybody else to fucking really deal with you. You really have to get in alignment as a mixed person with other mixed people to aid in the effort in dismantling anti-blackness. That's just period. And I feel like if we think like that, if we think like, okay, we are mixed, then how easy is it for us to get in fucking alignment? Just think about that. And this is not me trying to necessarily create a mixed community, because we already exist. We spend all of our time posting pictures of fucking exotical children. That is weird. I know it's not just us doing it, but Hello? If your baby pictures are being posted somewhere, if people have posted your baby picture to be like, oh my God, look at my mixed baby. Like, you know who you are. You know who you are. Let's stop playing games. Because real talk, if you want to align around an identity, align around being mixed and start to tell other mixed people how important it is for us to be in alignment with deep, dark skinned black people. Like, I've been sitting with this for a minute because I'm just like, okay, bringing it back to another conversation. I know I have many segues, but I know you're still with me. In that clubhouse room where that girl was talking about how she was a 75-25, her parent, one of her parents was biracial, one of them was black. In that room, in that same space, there was a conversation about how mixed people who are mixed with black are at the bottom of the mixed pecking order. That, like, the top of the list is like Hoppas. Like, this was a very bizarre room. Again, I think the room may have been about mixed people, or I think the room might have low-key been Are Mixed People Black? And I remember this was after I was radicalized, and so I was kind of like, yeah, I need to be engaging in this room. And that room actually is how I was further radicalized, because I had the nerve to be mixed and on the stage and trying to get other mixed people together, and wasn't realizing that the harm was the room being created. Like, anti-blackness is really deep, y'all, and I really didn't see how, like, anti-black it was for me to be engaging with other mixed people in a room questioning if we were black. That was bizarre. In retrospect, what the fuck was I on? But again, colonized thinking. Colonized people really do sit around and wonder if they're black. That is a thing. I'm not going to lie. As I said earlier, I thought my quote unquote blackness was settled. And so being in that space with other mixed people getting, told straight up, like, you are mixed and you are actually encroaching. Like, folks were being very kind, but very direct. But unfortunately, us mixed people were just not having it. We were just being really delusional. So getting back to my point, us mixed people realizing that we are already whole mixed people. We don't have to become fractions. We don't have to, tell people that we're from all these different places unless we want to, but we really just need to say we're mixed, and that's it. And then if they want to keep pressing and you feel the desire to, unroll your ancestry for them, cool, do it up. But for the most part, I really want us to consider that being a mixed person is a full identity. That there are things that you will learn that can be very useful to deep dark skinned black people. That there are things that you will have access to certain information that is helpful. And when I say information that's helpful, I mean, like, unraveling. Like, be candid with your thoughts. Start recording yourself talking about your family, especially if you're a mixed person. You will start to pick up on perhaps colorism, anti-blackness, exoticism, just weird texturism, people focusing on phenotypes and certain features. There are a lot of you sending me messages about things that your family were obsessing about, different characteristics or features. These are things to be emoting about right now, because a lot of us mixed people are unfortunately being manipulated in a lot of ways. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, you guys. I swear, every time I play fucking... And the manipulation must stop with our generation. We cannot be the elders using the one drop rule on its head in order to do ... Because from what I'm gleaning, and this is just my own analysis based on everything that I've been sharing with you, It appears that black cis men are attempting to colonize mixed and white women's pussy. And it's a very bizarre thing to have stumbled upon, because it really aligns with a lot of the ways that some black cis men have spoken to me, about either having harems or being polyamorous in a particular type of way that resembles Latter-day Saints type shit. Like just like compounds with like lots of women and children, which is not even just disgusting, but very bizarre, very bizarre indeed. I think like people project in a very anti-black way this concept of baby mama culture, and it's a way of demonizing women who have been abandoned by men. Like, the patriarchy is really wild. Like, there are ways that we will communicate certain things happening culturally that are not what is happening actually. Like, we will focus on a woman being abandoned with a child and say that she's a baby mom, and not that she has been abandoned. She is an abandoned mom. But people will further harm women who have already been harmed. But what's more insidious is that it seems like men are desiring children more than they're desiring connections with femmes, women, people able to give birth. Like, folks are so focused on demonizing people who are raising children alone without much community besides perhaps friends and other single parents. And these men are engaging in colonizing pussies in order to what? Create more, they think, black children, black folks. But that's not what's happening at all. In fact, what's happening is they're creating mixed people who are encroaching systemically. And, these are things that I would not know had I not listened to Deep Dark Skinned Folk. But these are also things I would not know had I not begun again engaging with black cis men. And just again hearing similar things, paying attention to my lineage, exotifying my light skin, asking me if I'm mixed, and then projecting on me that I'm a black person. There were just a lot of things going on in my new, reaching out to people, because I am trying to make space for queer black men. I am here. Hello. I love you. And I just want to be around the queer folk, honestly, period. So, hit me up if you're on that queer shit. But with that being said, I obviously am including black trans men and black non-binary folk as well. But I just want to be transparent. Like, someone asked me, someone was like, I didn't know you liked black men. And it's like, do you hear what's going on? Like, whenever I do get close to a black cis man, I am a lot of times being exotified. It is very rare that a black cis man engages with me and isn't projecting blackness on me. And maybe it's to feel at home. Maybe it's the way I'm communicating with him. I am engaging with the ways that I use AAVE and the ways that I have potentially made some black folks feel manipulated by making them feel comfortable. That is something I have to sit with. And so while I sit with that, I also want to be candid that, I've always thought black men were hot. I've never been like, oh, I'm not into black men because of how they look. It was always because of situations that would unfold that would either be kind of hurtful or just jarring as fuck. One instance that came up right away for me is me getting invested in this black cis man who I thought was like really amazing. And then he totally doesn't follow through with anything. And then I find out that he's like lusting after this like fat white woman. And obviously, I'm not mad that she's fat and I'm not mad that she's white. But I was hurt after us investing so much and having such a good time. I found out that he was more interested in a white woman. And I was just like, damn, that's how it goes a lot of times, unfortunately. And I also have to sit with the fact that like sometimes I am like the last stop before a black cis man divests from any crumb of black ancestry. And that has been my experience. And so with that being said, my hesitancy, my avoidance, after all that I just explained to you, I personally feel like is valid, but someone out there may feel hurt. And honestly, if that's you, what up? Are you trying to cultivate friendship connections? Because if so, I'm with that. But if I can't be your friend, then I can't be your partner. And unfortunately, I learned that very late in life, that I must be a friend to someone before I can be their partner. And so I'm in my period or my season of friendship. So let's cultivate that first, beloved.